everybody, welcome to my channel. I got my bargain bead box for the month of October 2025 and it's called Midnight Menagerie Collection, and as you can see it is a very dark palette. There is a lot of gemstones and a lot of silver, and those of you that have been on my channel before, you know that this is not my thing. I am not the dark, moody, edgy. That's just not my style. But that being said, one of the things that I adore about bargain bead box is even when I don't really love a color story, there are still so many things that I do love about the box. And I'm going to go quickly through the unboxing, and as we look at things, I'm going to set them aside because I've designed two bracelets, and one of them, well, they're both cool, but one of them is really cool. An amazing connecting project. So to start off with item number one, we got this brass and golden sheen obsidian bat pendant, and he is really cute. He hangs upside down, so I will probably take this bail off and do something with maybe black seed beads to hang him. And I have to say, the other thing, this box sparks creativity for me. Even though this is not my world's favorite color story, I don't really like black and silver together at all. I don't know, it just doesn't speak to me. I prefer black and gold. But what I saw in this box, if you have men's jewelry gifts to make, is like black leather. My son's been asking me for a black leather bracelet, and there's a lot to work with here, and gemstones. So if you have men's jewelry gifts to make, bookmarkers, keychains, bracelets, add in some black leather to your box and you'll just get a really good look. The quality here is amazing, so I love this little guy. My son is going to be nuts over him. And then there's like bats, cats, and rats. No rats. Bats, cats, and rats in this. So this is absolutely gorgeous. This little guy is an antique silver cat in the moon. It's a glass pendant in there. The back is filigree. That is so pretty. That is something that I absolutely do love. It's got a nice weight in this. And then this is another strand of golden 8mm golden sheen obsidian round beads. There's a 7.5-inch strand here, and like there is a lot of flash. And so again, men's jewelry, this is so, like, to me, this can be moody or edgy, or like, you know, the light changes in the autumn, and there's like a warm glow, there's like a darkness to it, I guess, and it can be very cozy. But I see men's jewelry with these gemstones, so that is really a beautiful strand of gemstones. This is one of my favorite things in the box. This is a 4x3mm golden sheen obsidian round, but it's faceted. And that, like, I see that mossy green in here, and look how that sparkles. I love these small gemstones for making minimalist earrings. I make ring components that become a little bit larger scale to add in, so I love this little strand of beads. That speaks to me. I also love this, and I think this is what I'm going to make my son's leather bracelet out of. This is a 6mm black agate, and it's dyed and heated, so the color is really stabilized. And I love the little story in here. There are swirls of chocolate and white. Look at this one. It even has like a little bullseye. It almost looks like a little eye in there. I mean, this is just a beautiful strand of gemstone beads, and there is 15 inches here. So if I didn't say when I started, I get excited when I get my bargain bead box. If I didn't say this is over $90, if you went and purchased all of these things individually, it's over $90. So it's like you pay 4 times less than what you would get. So even if there is a few things here that I don't love, this is one of the best values in the bead world, and it's so amazing. And more to that, for newer people, that I have a discount code, which I always link in the description box, so you can get a discount when you sign up for Bargain Bead Box. And even more than that, on your insert that comes in the box, there is a code that you can type in on the sister website when you shop for 30% off. So you get like wholesale pricing, and you don't need to just use it once. I'm sorry, let me try that again. You don't have to just use it once. You can use it over and over again if you want to shop every day and get 30% off. So even if you're not a wholesaler, and the website is just amazing. So the sister website is Bead Box Bargains, and the subscription box is Bargain Bead Box. So they're Lauren Fenty is the founder of both. So that just little explanation for newer people. And then look at this gemstone. So this is an 8 by 6 millimeter Malaysia jade, which is the industry name for dyed quartz. And these are rondelle beads. They're 7 inches here, and it's called October Nights. I love this shape. Rondelles are disc-like to me, and I just love it. And I love the autumnal tones in here. It's dark and moody for sure, but there's those rich burnt oranges, like popping this with a brighter orange. And we're coming up to one of my favorite beads in the box, but popping it with a little bit brighter orange is absolutely gorgeous. So that is one of my favorite things. Shape, color, everything. I just love this gemstone. 7 inches of that one. And then up next is maybe my favorite bead. I have a couple favorites. These are going to go into one of my 2 projects today. These are, they're 6 pieces, 13 by 10 black agate barrel beads, and these are dyed and heated. So again, the color is stabilized. They don't fade or anything, and they have a beautiful weight. They're gemstones, so they're cool to the touch, and there's so much movement. Even though it's a dark bead, there are striations, and this is just beautiful. And this barrel shape is one of my favorite bead shapes. I lean towards this. Like olive beads are kind of barrel shaped. I love these, and like the weight, oh my goodness, I wish you guys could feel that. So these are not getting put away. I'm just going to set them off to the side, but they are just absolutely amazing. This is my second I don't know, this is another favorite of mine now, and I don't love black and orange together. I really don't. It's not my thing. I'm more like black and pink, or then pink and orange. But look at this. These are absolutely amazing. Again, dyed and heated agate beads, and they're striped Z beads. And I love the color story. Like this one has a little bit of a sagey green to it. This one is like pale yellow. There's some orange. There's some chocolatey browns in here. These are like the most beautiful autumnal colors. And it's so refreshing to have that kind of white stripe in there. There's 10 pieces here, 10 millimeter bead. I love this. I absolutely love this. And I am toying with a design with another bead that's a favorite in the box. So I may be back with another video for this one, but I love, love, love those. Next item is a 16-inch strand of 8 by 6 millimeter crystal faceted rondelle beads, and it's called the Moon Shadow Mix, and it's just gorgeous with the opaque gray, but it has an AB finish on it. Aurora Borealis is what AB stands for, and it just mixes beautifully with the black, and then there's this kind of gunmetal gray, and then the white and cream. It is a beautiful color mix, like a bit stormy, but what a fabulous bead to have. And 16 inches, as I said, and it's just like a beautiful, very useful mix to have. And then I cut this strand open already because this is going in one of my projects. These are 6 millimeter crystals that are English cut and faceted, and the colorway is black vitriol. And there's a 9.5-inch strand here, and I cut them open. I love this English cut or star cut, and look at the flash in those. They are amazing. So those can stay out here because they are going in a project. And this is another favorite. And see, like I said, you guys, for a box or a color story or a color palette that is not really my thing, it's not my vibe, I sure have a lot of favorites in this box. And the projects and the ideas are, you know, they're inspired. It's just such a beautiful box. It's the quality. it's the quantity of what you get, and it's just, you know, the box is curated beautifully, so you can pick and choose things out of it and add in, like I'm going to add in from my own stash, and totally change the look. But this is one of my very favorite things. This is a 7.5 by 11 millimeter faceted crystal chevron barrel bead, also in that black vitriol. But when you turn this bead around, there are flashes of like a lilac pink in here. There's other flashes too, but I don't know if the camera's showing you, but I definitely see the flashes of the pink in here, and pink and black and gold is one of my very favorite color combinations. So classic, so elegant. So these are going to be going into my bracelet project with the black barrel beads. What an awesome combination, the two different barrels, then the smooth like gemstone with the faceted, you know, chevron, like that combination. They really make each other stand out. So that project is, I'm going to film that in, put it in this video. And then absolutely love making my own boho beads, and we got a boho bead in this little mix, which I love because these are lampwork beads. So these are glowing lampwork. They have that sparkly copper encased inside the bead, and you can see the clear glass that's kind of wrapped around it. That's one of my favorite types of lamp work, is where there's like an outer encasing of glass, and then you look inside and see the glowing, sparkling other colors inside. So pretty. I mean, I just absolutely love that. So like I said, there's a lot of loves for me in this box. And then there's these gorgeous cat pendants sitting in the crescent moon, and there is a bat ring component. So like things like this are so cool. If and like again, like if you were doing a men's necklace or a boy's necklace and you needed like an edgy kind of a little charm, you could add this to a piece of leather. But you can do simple earrings with things like this. Just literally put an ear wire on it and be done. And I do love bats. I have to tell you, I opened my patio umbrella not too long ago, and a little baby bat was inside the umbrella, and he was just wonderful. It was so thrilling to see him. And so speaking of bats, look at this gorgeous filigree connector. There's 4 pieces here. They are 20 by 56, and they're just absolutely wonderful. The sky is the limit. You can just hang a single focal from this part here. You could do chains hanging down. He would be just so cute as a pendant, you know, just putting a jump ring here and here and adding your chain. And we got chain in the box, which could be done with. Look at the stainless steel jewelry chain that came in the box. It's a 3 by 2 millimeter cable jewelry chain, and that would just be absolutely gorgeous. And if you wanted to wire wrap some beads right onto his wings, absolutely lovely. These are just so cool. They really are. And these would be really great bookmarkers too. Like you could turn him this way and have him hanging out of a book, like just really, you know, for fall reading. Just really beautiful. I love those little guys. The toggles in this box are beautiful. I would love to have these in all the metal finishes, antique bronze, copper, and gold. Look how dimensional they are. They look like architectural salvage to me. That's my decorator brain is on, but they are just gorgeous, chunky. And you guys that have been on my channel before, you know that, like, for me, I could make an earring out of these. That would just be absolutely gorgeous. And then I don't throw these away. I would make a beaded round part of my toggle for a bracelet or necklace and put the metal through the beaded ring, and so getting more projects out of it. But when a toggle is that gorgeous, that's what it makes me think of. And this is another favorite in the box. I absolutely love this. This is a faceted teardrop pendant in that obsidian, and it is just simply amazing. The facets on it are wonderful. It's exactly the same on both sides. I'm getting my fingerprints all over it, but it's very, let me shine it up a little bit and get my fingers off of it, but it's so gorgeous. I love this. This could like be so fun to play with all kinds of wire designs right on it, or simply put a large jump ring through there, or briolette wrap it, and one and done. It's just really, really stunning. One of my favorite things in the box. This is another one of my favorite things in the box. This is a 4mm cat's eye, and it is glass faceted rounds, and it's in a light peach. There's 7 inches here, and I just absolutely love the sparkle and the flash and the bling. And again, like for me, I make my ring components out of this. I love to do minimalist stick earrings when I get a bead like this. Also minimalist bar necklaces, just using little some kind of a little spacer bead in between, creating a pattern and just having a really simple little minimalist bar. I love that. But these look absolutely amazing with my other favorite in this box. Look at this. Wouldn't that make a gorgeous piece? So that's the other bracelet that I am toying with as far as a design. And this is also, like again, for a box that I say I don't love, I have a lot of loves in here. This is one of my favorite spacer beads of all time. It's a corrugated spacer. There's 10 grams here, and I just love the shape of it. It's rondelle or disc-like, but corrugated and fluted. And I just love the, it has a little bit larger hole, so if I'm stringing on Brazilian waxed cord, it goes through pretty easily, and I just absolutely love this spacer bead. So just cool. And I don't think that I have it in silver. I have it in copper and I have it in gold. So I was absolutely thrilled to get that little spacer bead. And it is completely wonderful to get bead caps. I love getting bead caps. And we got 10 grams here of these dotted bead caps. So let me turn one this way. Tiny little dots in the star point on these, and it's just like you always need bead caps. And I know the founder of Bargain Bead Box, Lauren Fenty, she said one time, I was listening to her talk about something, and she said that she tries to always put bead caps in the box because she has feels like for designing you need them. So it's one of her things, and I love them too. So that is our 21 items in this box. And again, check the description box for links and discount code if you are interested in getting the Bargain Bead Box. So let me pull in my first bracelet. This is this guy. I am adding in some of these lilac brecciated rondelles or gemstone discs and golds. These are some brushed brass e-coated gold spacers that I love. I just got them at a bead show. A little bit of jewelry chain. This is what I did with the sweater weather. This is my second video with a sweater weather Bargain Bead Box from last month, and that is my scraps of chain because it's one of my favorite chains, also from Purity Beads. It makes such a great extender chain, and I'm going to do a similar design but with different beads. So I will be bringing back in my black onyx, my dyed and heated black onyx, and these chevron beads. I won't need all of them because that would be a wrap bracelet, and I'm not going to do that. But I'm also going to be stringing on my Soft Flex black onyx 49 strand bead stringing wire. It is absolutely perfect for this box. So I just have a bracelet length here that I've cut off, and I will be using 2 of my Soft Flex number 2 crimp tubes that are gold filled. These are the best crimp tubes on the market, in my opinion, especially if you like the magical crimping plier. And so I, have the Beadalon ones work quite well, and so do the Beadsmith ones that come with the tool, or that are, made by the same company as the tool. But these have a much thicker wall, and they are so easy to crimp with. So if you're having trouble with that tool, the Soft Flex ones will work with any crimping method, but if you're having trouble with that tool, you might try this. So I'll show you how I do my crimps. This will look like a little 11-0 seed bead, or because they're 2 millimeter. So I'm just going to feed the tube on and make a loop. Just a little loop there, and I'm going to bring my magical crimping plier in, center the tube squarely in the center of the tool, and you can feel when it's in the center, and close the tool, and so it turns the tube into a square with 4 pinched corners. And then I'm going to go in the opposite direction. Before I close the tool, make sure that I feel that it has gone in the center of the divot there. It just went in, and now close it in that direction, and then just go around a few times. And sometimes I'll string from both ends when I'm making a bracelet, but I'm crimping this end now because I've already decided on my pattern and I know exactly what I'm doing, so I don't need to work from both ends on this design. So I'm just going to start my stringing with what am I going to start with? I'm going to start with one of these chevron barrel beads. Just get my cut end to hide in there. And then my pattern that I decided on is a disc, a brass disc, a brecciated disc, a brass disc, a black onyx, and then repeat a brass disc, a brecciated disc, a brass disc, and then switch back to the chevron bead. And like I say, there are flashes of pink in these chevron beads. Let me put a little bit on here and I'll show you how beautiful this pattern is. And with neutrals like what is in this box, so many, dark shades, you can pop in your favorite color and completely change the look of the beads in the box by just popping in your favorite color. Get this one on and I'll show you. Look how gorgeous that is. I just love it. I love, love, love it. I think it's so pretty. This for me is a classic, like everyday bracelet. So I'm going to string my length, and I might fall just a little bit short of my length because I love this chain, and this is my last little bit of my favorite chain. But this makes such a great extender chain. It's so easy. You can clasp your lobster claw in any one of those links just so easily. And that's what I have left. So I don't know how much of it I'll use. I'm kind of hoarding it. But let me string this up and I'll show you some of my fancy gold filled jump rings to attach my chain. I just love these. They're like diamond cut and they're really sturdy. So they're great for attaching things to a chain. And I also just need to decide on a dangle, a charm for the end of this. I cannot stand to leave a extender chain link blank on the end. So I have to find something that I love to go on the end, and sometimes what I do is make one out of the beads that are in the box, and I'm thinking that I might even take one of these and my discs and my brecciated spacers and just create a charm for the end of my extender chain. So I'm just going to open my jump ring and add this. I'm using a lobster claw clasp from an assortment that I always link in the description box, and it has this really cool swivel feature. I love that. It makes putting on bracelets very, very easy because it doesn't matter which way you turn it when you're clasping it. I love these jump rings too. They close. When they are closed well, it looks like a solid ring. You can't tell where it starts or stops. And then I'm going to come to this end, another one of my fancy jump rings, and on my chain that I love so much, I know that I don't want all of those links, so they don't open and close. They're solid. So I do have to cut one and lose it, but then I just save it for earrings because then it's just like a fancy oval jump ring. So that's my little stack of beads. I think it's such a pretty charm. And I'm just going to put a bend in my head pin and just make a simple loop at the top. Bella cat, are you hungry? My little cat is talking. These are my ball head pins also from Purity Beads. So they're solid brass and they're coated for anti-tarnish. So I even save these for making little wire components. And then before I attach that, I'm only going to need 3 links for my extender. So I have to cut the 4th one. And what I do is come at an angle in one of the little areas where the embossing is and cut at an angle. And then again, I don't throw this away because for earrings, like this is a beautiful fancy oval jump ring. You can just close it back just like you would a jump ring. And so I save those. I have a little box of those, and I still have another extender chain, or I can, if I want earrings with just 2 links, I could snip this one. So yeah, I'm saving that, holding on to that for dear life. And then what I'm gonna do is open my simple loop on my little charm. I don't need that ring, and just add it right to the bottom link on my bracelet. You know, it's not wrong. You can leave your last link on an extender chain empty, you know, and some people like that look. But for me, I just always need some kind of a dangle at the end of the chain. But look at this stunning bracelet. It's absolutely gorgeous. I totally love it. That's going to be a go-to bracelet for me. And my next bracelet is unbelievably cool. Look at this, you guys. So I'll show you, I've added in some things from my stash and I've gotten it started a little bit. This is the coolest connecting project. And I'll show you exactly how I did it. It's not hard at all. It looks a little bit more complicated than it is, but I felt like it was a little bit edgy. Oh, and I went to a Lego convention with my son yesterday and they stamped my hand, and I have washed my hands a million times and had a bath, but I still have my Lego stamp on my arm. So I'm going to show you how I did that, and what I'm using here are these little connector bars. I have them in gold and in silver. If I can find these, I will try to link them for you. I can't remember where I got them, but you could also do a piece of wire with a simple loop on each end and create this same exact design if you don't have these connector bars. So I have a little stack of those out here, and I have cut some 22 gauge wire, a bunch of links, and I might need to do more to get my bracelet length. Can't pick this last one up. They are all 2.5 inches long, and what I used for this is my Soft Flex 22 gauge craft wire in gold. It's got an anti-tarnish coating, so I just, you know, cut a couple of those. I have an extender chain out here and a couple of jump rings and some silver disc spacers from my stash. Now you could, for this design, you could also use the corrugated spacers that came in the box, but I felt like I wanted something a little bit bigger there, so I used my discs, but these would work beautifully for this design as well. So to start off with, I'm just going to take a piece of my 22 gauge wire, and I'm going to use my 6-step bail making plier, the very smallest step, and I'm going to line the wire up in between those top 2 steps, and I'm going to make a coil that is 3 rounds long. 1, 2, 3. So where I started is where I finished. It really doesn't have to be that precise. I'm going to fiddle with just a little bit more after I've connected everything. But to start, I did a few connections here so that you could see how cool this kind of handmade bracelet chain is. And if you can see that how articulated my bits are here, that's because I got my tension just right as I was coiling toward my bead component, if that makes sense. I'll just show you. So to start off with, I'm going to take my my coil, I've kind of made a head pin. What we're kind of doing here is a double head pin. And obviously you see I mixed in gold and silver on this piece because I did think it was a little bit edgy, and I don't know, I thought it went really well with the beads in the box. So it looks like that with the disc spacer, and like I said, here you could pop in these corrugated spacers if you like those. Then I'm going to take 2 of my bars and pop them on this wire. I can't hold on to it. So I'm going to put 2 of my bars on the wire, so it looks totally funky. I know that, but it works and it's so cool. And then I'm going to pop on one of the beads, and then I'm going to do the same thing in reverse. I'm going to put 2 more bars on my wire and my disc spacer, and then I'm going to turn this so that I'm going to do the best that I can to create a coil that's lined up with this one. So I'm going to come in again with my plier, and you can totally don't stress over this because you can totally straighten these out with your pliers, and I've had to fiddle with every single one to get it just right. So I'm just going to make another little coil here and just coil right up to my component, right up to my disc spacer. They'll be a little off, they'll be a little wonky because it's small. It's, you know, not super easy to hold on to, but just get that little coil in there. And then I'll come back with my round nose pliers and kind of line things up, straighten out my coil. My cut end on this one is poking up a little bit too much, so I'll just turn that in and just get my pliers in there. And it's 22 gauge wire, so you can, you know, use your plier and your fingers. It's very malleable. Just make sure my cut end is nice and neat. And what you want is that your bars still move freely, that it's articulated. You want your double head pin to be in there. And of course, I like them neat, but if you wanted to do these kind of wonky, going in different directions, that would be also this is a very avant-garde, very contemporary, edgy like design, but I want my bars to be moving pretty freely, to dangle. So when I get my 2 coils, you know, lined up nicely, but not too tight up against. You still want everything to move. And so a little bit of bending, like you can bend them down after they're made if your bars are not moving freely. And so that's how I started the design, is with that little component. And then to connect it to each other, you do exactly the same thing, but you pop your bead in. So I'm going to take another one of my pieces of 2.5 inch wire and put another coil in this side. And 3 was the sweet spot for me. It gives you that nice little kind of spring look. And then again, I'm going to keep the same order, put my disc on first, and then I'm going to feed on, this is my 1 bar, and the second bar is already attached to my next component. So you always need 2 bars, and just feed that on. And then, you guessed it, a bead, and then the exact same thing in reverse. Pop the bead on, and then get your next bar connected on each side from your other component. And you could, you know, this would probably be easier if I was laying it on my mat, but I want to hold it up to the camera so that you can see what I'm doing here. And then before I make the coil, pop on my disc. And so it's connected. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come to this side and, you know, try to line up my coil that I've already made with the one that's coming toward the component. Just come in with my bail making plier and coil right up to the disc. and not too tight because I still want everything to move. Just tidy up those cut ends. Bend the coil down a little bit because you want to make sure that everything is moving, and you could do almost any bead in here. Really, I chose these English cut ones, but honestly I think a smooth bead might even work a little bit better. I just love the sparkle of this because what's happening is the faceting on the English cut bead does catch a little bit on my wire, so I have to make my coils a bit looser for this particular bead, you know, kind of pull them down a little bit. It works. I mean, it does work, but a smooth bead, and I think a rondelle would look really gorgeous. So I could have chosen, not that, I could have chosen this bead, would also be stunning in this design. I might have to do another one with the rondelle from the box, but look at this cool bracelet. Isn't that the neatest chain? I absolutely love it and is so fun. It's not tedious at all to connect. So I am going to continue and add in another, you know, just do it all again. So you always start off by getting your head pin, your kind of coiled double head pin ready. My third turn, and I'm going to pop on a disc, come to the end here and add it to my bar, and then pick up another bar and add that in, and then my bead, and then pick up a bar, and then add in my bar from the other side, just to pull this back a little bit to reach it, and then my disc, and then line up my coil and just coil right down to my whole component. Get this coil right up to that disc, and then just tidy everything up. I always want to make sure that my cut end of my wire is turned inward and not protruding. And I just like put my plier here at the base of the coil and bend that way, or you can, like I said, put your plier in and do it with your hands, just to make sure that my bars, you know, are dangling freely. And so I'm just going to check my length, and I'll show you how to put how I'm going to put a clasp on this. I love this. I think this is so cool. I could see making a lot of these. I have another version of this in my mind that I think is going to be so fun. So I will come back in another video for that one. I'm going to do another one. Okay, so on the last one, I believe I'm on my last one. Yes, I'm on my last one. So you do want to make sure that this is pretty straight. And like, I don't mind if my coils are kind of twisted in different directions. You really could leave them like that, or, you know, line them up perfectly, whatever look you like. But in order to put the clasp on, it really needs to be loose here, because we need to pull the last two bars together. So I'm just going to make sure this is straight, and that loosens these up so that they will come together right here. And then it's so simple, you guys. I am just going to, let me clean up some of these tools. And I'm mixing gold and silver, so since my bars are gold, I grab some silver jump rings. So I'm just going to open the jump ring and put it through both of the loops, and I'm using an 8mm jump ring here. Just you know, again, it's a little bit big, so that keeps that spacing nice, and just get it through. And then I am going to attach my lobster claw to that, and I have the extender chain kind of already connected to the lobster claw because I rescued that from another piece. I never throw anything away. This was another chain that I was working with, and it already has, you can see that this, I need to trim this. It was connected to another chain. I'm going to trim that off of there. And it already had a little dangle on the end. And I'm going to come to this side with another jump ring and do the last same thing. 2 bars. And so, like, I love this. Like, for me, I'm thinking of another version where I make my bars out of wire and simple loops. The one-step looper would work great for that. And I'm just going to pop my extender chain on and close my jump ring. Look at this cool bracelet. I absolutely love this. That is like the most gorgeous artisan. The best way to put on a bracelet is lay your extender chain over your wrist and then bring your lobster claw or whatever clasp, your magnetic clasp, whatever, around, and then, you know, you can clasp it. But that is such a cool idea. I love the way that turned out. And like I said, even a box that isn't my favorite color story, I got extremely inspired, as you can see. So I will put links in the description box. If I can find these bars, I will link those. And anything else that I've used when I edit the video, I will do my best to provide those links for you guys. And don't forget to use my discount code for Bargain Bead Box if you would like to sign up for it. It really is one of the best values in the jewelry world. And I'll be back with some more videos, so I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. A thumbs up is always greatly appreciated. You can't imagine how much it helps a channel and an artist's work when you give it a thumbs up, because the YouTube algorithm takes that as a signal that there's quality content, and it will push my channel to newer audiences. And there is a brand new feature to YouTube which may not be showing up on everyone's account just yet because it's so new, but if you see the chance to hype one of my videos, you're allowed to do it 3 times a week, and it would be so greatly appreciated. It's like giving a video a thumbs up on steroids. Like, it really helps a channel and really supports an artist's work, and it doesn't cost anything or change and do anything to your YouTube account. It's just a really lovely, sweet way to support someone's work. So I thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, friends.